Before getting into Alexandre's presentation, I will briefly introduce him. So, Alexandre Baccaras teaches at Institut de Technologie Alimentaire du Québec for 9 years now. He teaches agricultural technology in mechanical program and technology in agribusiness. He has a postgraduate degree in postgraduate teaching and diploma that he got from University of Sherbrooke. He's at master's studying for his master's now with research on AI and the potential for AI in pedagogical applications. Have a great webinar. It's all yours, Alexandre. Thank you, Nicole. So I'm very happy to be here today. I will begin right away. So today we will see together what is possible with AI as an everyday tool, because we will see many examples of using AI throughout this webinar. So I can begin the 30th of December 2022. It exploded. ChatGPT came online, ChatGPT 3.5, the 3.5 version, OpenAI also. It didn't take very long. Millions of users logged in and started using it. And very quickly, we saw the potential of this tool, considering that we could speak to it and it could answer us in a very familiar language. So, as a tech prof, and uh, it wasn't very long. I registered. I gave up. I gave my information, signed up for ChatGPT, and I didn't even think about it. I just jumped in, and I tried many different things. I even wrote an article on using AI and how I was using it anyway, and I tried and played with it and became passionate about it and interested in it, because for agriculture, and I'm specialized in machinery and technology, we already have a form of AI that will help us to manage our machines. So that's why I got interested in ChatGPT. However, the 3rd of February 2023, article in the New York Times, generative AI at the heart of the controversy. So it took a few months and for the users to notice that, well, there's some limits. There are limitations to AI, and it can give biased answers. So we're not as sure about the potential of AI. There's some researchers that gave some warnings, and we see that the potential that it had, there are limitations, and that we should have to go through different steps before we could get to a more usable, more perfect product, as I would say. So today, what I want to look at with you is what I'm doing here is an opinion exploration of my personal opinion. It's a sharing of my experience. I am not by any means a specialist or an expert in AI. Far from it. I took some training and a conference that I thought was very interesting, and I'm going to repeat a bit of what the conference speakers said. So for AI, I'm not an expert or a specialist. And if somebody thinks they're an expert or a specialist today, well, tomorrow he won't be anymore. Things are developing very, very fast. So, as I said, I want to share my experiences and what I've learned. Um, so, the plan is pretty simple. I think we have to talk about ethical considerations, because anything around AI, there's always this obligatory exploration of ethical considerations. We're going to talk about redactical issues and what that is, and also some examples of the usage of AI as a teacher and as a student as well. could be very promising as a tool, and it's a very wide public. I'm not just talking about teachers, guidance counselors, researchers, and pedagogy. And so I will also give some examples and explanations in everyday life on how you can use AI and the potential of certain usages and what they can produce for us as people. So today I want to look at AI and how we can simplify our everyday lives. It doesn't reduce our intelligence. On the contrary, it can push our thinking further in not in our thinking and make it's a tool for furthering our thinking. I'm just going to put it that way. So ethical considerations, I think that's an obligatory thing that we have to talk about. I'm not a specialist in ethics. I'm not here to debate or uh, discuss ethical issues for hours. We could do that. There are specialists who are working on that all week long, and there are organizations in Quebec who work specifically on ethics and AI. So when I want to talk about ethical issues, it's not related to ethics in general, but uh, personal ethics and what I'm going to present today. So there are three main lines that I want to talk about today in terms of ethics: biases, private life and personal data, and equity. And biases in terms of ethics and artificial intelligence, and how I can present that is, we know that our generative AI was built or programmed with a foundation that comes from the web, and the web has biases. And so, given that, I'm going to express it this way. Enormous pools of data that contain bias, of course, you have to be careful of the answers because the answers could be biased. And the thing I want to say here, I'm saying this just to make you aware. You have to be very mindful of people's private life, private information, and personal data. Example is there will be a lot of sharing, I think, with AI, sharing of students' work and sharing ideas and all of that. And we have to be very aware of people's private life and private information and what we share. Despite the fact that OpenAI will say that our conversation is private and I will not be used in another context, and the machine will not use this to feed their data. I can't prove that, unfortunately. But I'm talking about OpenAI, ChatGPT. I'm just going to open a parenthesis here. I decided to do my webinar on ChatGPT because I consider today that it's the generative AI that is the most used, and um, among our group, teachers, students, etc. So that's why I'm concentrating more on that. But there are many others. But I'm talking more about ChatGPT than OpenAI. So another consideration in terms of ethics, equity with regards to our students. You will see later on, I will talk about using AI as a student. I think we have to be aware, as any computerized tool, we have to think about equity in a classroom. Not all the students have the same access. So if I give you some examples today, for example, I want to just make you aware of this question of equity. So ethics, that's done. I will now take you directly into the crux of the presentation. So the first thing, we want to talk about composition, and it's a French term. We're gonna read the definition, but most of you have learned the word prompt, which is the English word. So it's the word we use, prompt engineering, that we should use, but I'll give you both definitions. And the term rédactique in French is pretty recent. It's a translation of prompt in English, and the term rédactique is refers to the redaction methods, specific prompts that are specifically for AI systems, specific prompts to optimize their performance or completely use more efficiently their capacity to have more relevant results. So it's a prompt that we give to the AI. The more the instructions are specific and precise, the better answer we will get. So we really have to consider the prompting. Sometimes it may seem long, writing a paragraph, but at the same time, you write it once, and if it's written well, we can use it over and over again. I will give you the first thing I will give you is a reference. If you want to learn more on the art of prompting, um, it's a book that was recommended by my research director, and it really good co-intelligence. It's the art of the art of prompting. He's a prof from Pennsylvania. He quickly garnered attention with his work on AI and integration of AI in teaching, and so that is why for me it's a great resource to share. He wrote many articles, and I recommend to go follow him on LinkedIn. He posts pretty regularly about the different experiences with his students. It's very enriching, very rich content. So I'm going to share with you an example of prompting that I found in a scientific article that Lika Malik, that is his wife, and they wrote an article, assign AI an approach for student prompts. So the phrase that is there, the paragraph, let's say prompt in his article. So you see the what it could look like for a prompt, and the article that it's a part of article that I just shared. You can have a look at it, but I highlighted the passages that are for me that are very important in creating a prompt. And so when you create a prompt, it you need different elements so that the prompt is really producing an answer that we're looking for that will be satisfactory. So the first part is the role, and the role is the remember the prompt that I want to share is a prompt to share with a student so that the student can use it in the classroom context. That's why the formulation is different than for a teacher. For a teacher, it's kind of the same, the role. The first thing we've got to do with the AI is to give him a role. So you are a mentor, a friendly and useful mentor, helpful, so that you can give feedback to the students to help them improve their work. So it's a prompt that is written so that the AI will be a mentor for the student. We give them instructions, introduce yourself to the students, ask them to tell you about their work. Then there's a pedagogical part. So this and you understand, but the pedagogical part talks about feedback, specific, concrete feedback, the same kind of feedback that we usually provide. It talks about constraints. It's important when we build a prompt to give it constraints, to give it a framework. So for those who've used AI before, you already know this. We realize very quickly that if you don't put any limits or any frame to the query, it could continue nonstop. I can ask one question, it can write 4 paragraphs. So that we have to put some limits to put a framework around our questions so that the student is not lost, does not get lost, and the student can have more of a dialogue with the AI. And lastly, the personalization. So with regards to the work of the student, to share the work independently of the work, you can share it as a PDF. You can copy it depending on the account that the student has. They can copy paste their work and give it and share it with the AI. So, and ultimately, if you do a prompt as I presented, you make sure that the AI be very specific and more efficient. So I have a lot of stuff here to think about, but you have the example of a good prompt with the right references that you will be able to after the training. I don't, well, it's not exactly training, but after the webinar, if you want to write your own prompt or um, to change some terms, it works very well. I've done it myself. So now that the prompt thing is covered, we will look at an example of using a prompt in teaching. I think that's what's important today. I have two examples for you to share with you. So uh, a lot to cover. I'm sorry, Alex, if I'm speaking too quickly. I'll try and slow down a little bit. So for a prompt, the first prompt that I want to share is evaluation tables, descriptive evaluation tables. So this is something that is very important to do today. I don't need to tell you all the advantages, but something that I can tell you is that when you do evaluation, descriptive evaluation tables, it takes a while. And everybody can think that it's long for me to build a table. I wrote an article on that, and it can take 2 days. And so it's really long. And maybe there's a way to do it quicker, easier. So, and I will show you that here. And so you are my teacher. So everybody, I'm just want to make sure everybody sees it. Give you my prompt. It's a prompt that asks, uh, build an evaluation table with 4 strata, and that's usually how I do it. And it says I am sharing the instructions, sharing the objective, and sharing the evaluation criteria as well. I define all of that. I put it in my prompt, and it creates a descriptive evaluation table as I was asking for, with criteria and with many different points, sub bullets, sub points. So if I copy paste this and put it in my work directly, no, as is, no, but it gives me a very good outline to be able to work from, and to work from that and make sure that it is comprehensive for all my students. So of course, it's clear that it improves and accelerates my work. However, I pushed things a bit further. So in my evaluation tables, and I think that most teachers do that, there are some key terms that we use that are very clear for us, and for the students that are not as clear. So what I'm asking is, can you define the key terms in this table? And instantly it bold faces the key parts and defines them. However, it's not perfect. And that's why we always have to validate and not just copy paste. So it's pretty simple to do. If you look here, total mastery of the subject, knowledge of the subject, total knowledge of the subject. And this part is the subject that it defines. But for me, it's not the subject, it's the mastery of the subject that's important. Total mastery. sufficient mastery, different levels of mastery of the subject. So I'm going to change that. And instead of the term subject, you can maybe define it in terms of mastery, satisfactory or not. So again, total mastery, sufficient mastery, good level of mastery. It defines different criteria for evaluation, different levels, and it defines them. The subject, again, just to we use that and we use that example, we erase it and we build our own, and we just a definition. If I look at this table, but for me, it makes even more sense. What I'm going to do as a teacher, I'm going to look at each of the definitions. Does it speak to me? Does it make sense? I'm going to modify that, put it in the language that the student will understand. But if you read through it quickly, it is pretty clear. Now, in these tables, what I like to do is we see that the words are bold and bold, but it doesn't really look good on the table. What I like is to put a prime or a little asterisk to refer to the definition of these key terms. So that's what I do. And again, that's what it does. It puts a prime there, a little number there that refers to the table to the numbers at the bottom there. It gives a number to each of the terms that we want to define, and we've got a list down here at the bottom. My table is exactly how I want it, how I want to build it. All I have to do now is take this and put it into a Word file and then use that to and use my skills as a teacher, all that I've learned on the descriptive evaluation tables, and to build from this outline that is quite good, you must admit. And once I've built that, it's goes really fast. And instead of taking 2 days to build this descriptive evaluation table, it can take me 2-3 hours, but a few hours really of work. So I really gain a lot of efficiency. And in everyday life, in a session where I have a new class and I have 3-4 evaluations, it's not true that I will do 3-4 tables without the help of AI. So we will do one per year or two because it takes a lot of time. So the other example that I wanted to share with you today is the AI for enriching interactions. So you will see there is some caveats for the feedback. And I'm going to take the example of William, Naomi, and Dimitri. I will share my example. It's in Word format. It was easier to share that way because when I do PDF in ChatGPT, I can't share the link for an unknown reason. So I highlighted the important parts, and you can see how I've different elements of the prompt, the role, the instructions, the pedagogy, the constraints, and the personalization. And it's pretty simple. So for feedback, because that's what I'm looking for, I'm talking about the role, the instructions. I need help in providing feedback. I give the pedagogical parameters and rich interactions, and it's the prompt that I shared before. And there's some constraints that I give the AI and the main directives that are related to the work we want to do. Also share the learning objectives, the pedagogical objectives that this allows us to reach, the objectives we want to reach, and also the descriptive evaluation table so that the AI can situate itself, situate all this within the evaluation. So I provide the table and I give him the table, and it understands that I have three criteria: prior knowledge, quality of, and the knowledge you have to develop. It's on 10 points, each of the criteria. So, and I'm starting to, and I provide the, so that's what I'm trying to share. I'm not asking him to correct. I'm asking for feedback, because we know that when we have 35 things to correct, it's impossible to give feedback that is robust, that will allow us to. It's not impossible, but it's takes too much time. So sometimes we limit ourselves to one or two sentences, and so short feedback, when we know that feedback as a teacher is important for a student to um, build the skills that we want to build. So AI for me can be a tool to give more rich feedback. And what I can show you here is that um, I'm can you correct and give feedback? And so I will concentrate on some points to to it gives me some reflection and feedback. Continue to explore. So um, I'm asking what the feedback and thinking is a bit strange for me. So I don't understand. For me, it doesn't make sense. So can you give me a note for each of the criteria uh, for William? And it gives me a mark of 8, 9, and 7. That makes sense. But I write him, I totally disagree with you. But sorry, because the work asked for a deep level thinking. And for me, the work provided by William, what he handed in is incomplete. And I give him a score that I had corrected before sharing um, all this information. I give William is a 4, 2, and 3. So I was far from the score she gave. And that's the first thing that I want to make you aware of. It's important to understand that for correction, for marking, it's not perfect. For feedback either. So I have to provide a framework, and I'm going to provide some notes so that it can give a feedback that is more precise, more specific. So what it tells me is, yes, you're right. After reflection, it should be 4, 2, 3. So it repeats what I said. I colored a little bit the reflection, the thinking on this. Can you redo the correction marking? It does exactly what I want to do. 4, 2, 3. You see the three criteria, but now it gives direct feedback related to the 4. For example, try to give more specific examples. And in the examples that I'm showing you today, I had corrected the work of William, and I validated. I checked the feedback, and they all make sense once I gave him William's score. Yes, absolutely. I hadn't thought of that. Thank you. Thank you. So, so the feedback really make sense. I asked him to do the same thing for, and it corrects for me 3, 2, 3. And again, the thinking behind that, and I find that it's a bit strict, and that's with the limits of AI for feedback. I thought it was much better than William, that just says that I thought that it answers me after a new evaluation of the work. And considering your previous remarks, everything I say is I find that Naomi was better, and it goes up to 786. Yes, the just say that I don't agree, and it changes its mark, the notes, the marking. So contradicted, and it wants to, the AI is there to please you, is trying to please you. So perfect, but it made more sense. So it made more sense. So let's go to Dimitri now. I share Dimitri's work. It says 675. And again, I write, I find that Dimitri's work is excellent, and it gives a mark of 998. So clearly, there's a problem when we ask the AI to correct, to give marks. So I asked, why do you have difficulty in marking and give a good feedback? So when I just share uh, the interpretation of the criteria in the table and absence of context on the specific expectations of the class and hindered my capacity to uh, uh, evaluate the students. My capacity is limited because of the constraints. So I gave a lot of information, and we clearly see that it's not perfect. However, the for me, if I give so they give me a feedback that makes sense. So talk to you about the usage of AI as a student, to talk about the research on the JTML method. You know that I'm a student myself, and my research is on AI, and my objective is to understand how integrating AI in higher education can enrich the possibilities on a pedagogical level. And to get there, so in my research, uh, already, and in my methodology, I have to find a way to analyze the data and create questionnaires. And despite the AI is so new that it's an investigative framework that's already there, it's very difficult. So I had to do some research. And the research that I've done brought me to the JTML method, where I found that it was perfect for me, that it made sense. And so I wrote the results, and uh, I didn't understand the method. And often we say that often late at night I was reading, and I used AI, generative AI, generate text to help me understand. And as a student, that's where I see a certain potential. So I have to be careful because my research, and I have to have a no, I have to be neutral. And and for me as a student, I studied it this way, and I was able to understand the JTML method in very little time with a very simple discussion with the AI. So we can think about the student could, and that's why it would be important to help the student, to give him feedback, because it can be a potential tool to be able to allow the student to understand the concepts, a bit more complex concepts. So I just wanted to share how I used AI to increase my efficiency and performance. Now, I wanted to share to develop new skills, AI for everyday use. I'm going to talk about new skills that I've developed thanks to AI, and the new skills, and you will find it a bit. I'm in my car, and I live in Mont Saint Hilaire. I work in Drummondville. It's about an hour and 15 minutes. I'm alone in my car, and I get tired of listening to the radio, and so I say maybe I can talk to AI to pass the time. And when I say to develop new skills, oh, okay, I'm gonna chat with the AI to learn more about the blockchain. And in 15 minutes, I had the discussion with the AI because you can have discussions when you have a paid account. And in 15 minutes, I understood the concept of blockchain, which is a concept that is now very simple for me to understand. And I improved my knowledge and my capacities just by using AI. So it's a great example of everyday usage. And the rest of the 45 minutes, I talked about the AI about quantum computing. And I would say that with those 45 minutes, I still don't understand what quantum computing is. And it's not the fault of AI. I think those who are interested in the subject, it's a bit esoteric and complex, but I had a conversation nonetheless that was very enriching with the AI. So these are new skills and knowledge that I've developed. And the last example is AI as a designer. I uh, uh, have a new desk, a new office at home to do my work, and it's a bedroom of my children, their old room. So I redecorated the whole thing, and we had hired a designer. But before she came in, I'd have an idea of what I would like. I took some pictures of the whole office. I shared that with her, and I asked her. I want to have two different plans and little tables that I would like next to my desk, and what she would suggest. And she described all of them. She gave me the characteristics, why you would choose one more than the other. And I thought it was very interesting. Then I said, if I have to repaint, what would you suggest? She uh, uh, suggested a table, a grid, and to paint white on the side walls and white on the ceiling. And with all of that, if you want a look that is um, a bit flashy, well, that'll do the job and it'll look good. So then I said, for me, it was perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. Then I pushed the envelope a bit. Can you give me the color codes, the paint codes, so that I can go and find out which one? And she gave me the color codes that I needed. So I took all of that and I asked my designer, what do you think of this gray, uh, uh, like uh, um, like gunmetal kind of gray, and the rest in white? That's a good idea. It look good, and it'll fit with your shelves and everything. And I was laughing, and so I wanted to have some desks. What do you think of this desk? It's perfect. What about these tables? It all fits. So I replaced my designer with AI, and at the end of the day, I confirmed that uh, what she was suggesting, my designer was suggesting, made sense. The designer confirmed that the AI made sense, and the AI confirmed that the designer made sense, if you will. So I decided to share with you. We talked a lot about generative AI, and there exists a whole bunch of AIs that are on the market. I decided to share this table, what you see on the screen, and so we see that whether it be video, image, and depending what you see. So 45 minutes goes by very quick. There's 3 minutes left, Alexandre, and I'm very happy to. It's not that there's a lot of questions, but there's only one, the chat GPT version that you use. But I think that to give people time to comment or ask questions, I think that it's a great teaser that you have given us today on the possibilities of AI in many areas of our lives. Of course, pedagogy is one of them, and I'm convinced that you will but people will appreciate your presentation today and the version of ChatGPT that you are using. I am using 4.0 right now, and the version, pay version that we share together as teachers. We created, my colleagues and I, Julien Martineau, we created an email account, a Gmail account, and we share and we separate to share the bill. Right now it's 4.0, but I also use 3.5 also. And 4.0, I'm also, it's $30 a month. And yes, so if you divide that with 5 or 6 people, it's pretty affordable. So we agree that the usage of AI in education, it constitutes, it's a debate and for many years. We're still in the beginning, even if it's 2024. It's been 2 years, but of course we will continue using this technology. It's very enriching, and I would like to know. There's 1 minute left. The participants, maybe in the chat, can you feedback and can you the are you using it already, or because you the desire to use it? More people are very satisfied. The comments that I've seen, people are very happy. So I think that your webinar will have interested a lot of people, and I understand why. So thank you, and we will see you again soon. And I will give a few minutes for people to give their comments, and there will be, I think, Julie that still has some questions. Maybe we can maybe have a webinar where people can have a meeting where people can ask their questions, talk about their experiences. I think that also can be good. Yes, a discussion with AI, and it can be very enriching to have an exchange, a discussion. And so there are training and discussions that will allow the participants to try it out live. That would be something that we should look at. Okay. And I see in the chat there are people who are making suggestions, so we can go and see that as well. So thank you, Alexandra, and we will see you soon. If you have any questions, or you could have a webinar on concepts related to AI, we can talk about that. See you soon, and we will talk again. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.